How we doing, guys? So back again. Bit of a change of plan this video. This was originally going to be a video on upgrading and setting up brakes. I did stick a bit of a post on the pedal-worx Facebook page, sort of doing a bit of a preempt, but after sort of doing it all yesterday and watching it back, it was just like a load of waffle, and like more than my normal waffle. This was like epic waffle. So I thought, nah, scrapped it. But then today, that lot turned up. So been on a bit of an expedition of something new. So I've been an advocate and a long time user rider of Max's tyres until early this year. I after destroying numerous rear tyres on the Levo, which is sitting down there, I went over to Schwalbe. I went over and obviously just defaulted straight to the eddy current tyres, because that is their e-bike specific tyre, clues in the name. But not had any problems with them. I think they're almost perfect. They're a bit slow and draggy in the muddy. They're okay to a point in the wet, but everything else seems to be okay. I mean, obviously I've not used them in the summer and the dry. They've only been fitted since Christmas, so yeah, not had much of a go at dry. But the weekend we went to the London bike show, got talking to the Schwalbe guys, and they were like, no. They went Magic Mary up front and a Big Betty in the back, under the same specs as the Eddy. So with the what's it called? Super Gravity. Give me words out. With the soft compound, and the Super Trail. Can't see it, with the soft compound. So exactly the same as what's on the Eddies. You can see them there. Sort of same compound as the Eddies, but in the apparently the go-to tread pattern for Schwalbe. Now, never run them before, so nothing wrong with trying, is there? Right? Don't be scared of getting something new and go. You never know what you're missing. That's what they're saying, isn't it? So let's get in the fin. Now, before I disappear, the other reason why I'm doing this is I'm just doing a tyre change course. I mean, you see 10 at a time. The amount of times people said to me, "Oh, Schwalbes are a nightmare to get on and off." Now, nah. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm not necessarily going to be like, this is the gospel of tyre changing, but this is how I do it, and I don't have any trouble getting them on and off. And they're on DT Swiss EX 511 rims. They're quite a deep set rim, not like the Envies of old, which was so shallow they're just an absolute pain to get the tyre on off of. They're not as bad as them, but they're still a fairly decent sized rim. So let's get the wheels off the bike, and I'll sort of go for how I get the tyres on and off. It's relatively painless. All right, back in a bit. Right, so getting into it now. So wheels off, obviously starting with the front wheel. Not that makes much difference, but just, yeah, anyway. If you're not doing a fresh fit like I'm not, I'm doing a tyre change, hence the video, a little trick for you. Get yourself a 2.5mm drill bit, right? So remove your valve core, let the air out. Now get your drill bit right, and just twist it into the valve, yeah? And you'll probably find there's a build-up of sealant. Now I've already pulled the crap out of this one, sorry, can't see now. When you put, you'll feel the resistance of the sealant, because sealant, these valves, no matter how good they are, they always pass a little bit of air. If anything leaks air on tubeless, it also is going to leak sealant, so you'll get sealant collect in the tube of the valve, right? So 2.5mm drill bit, and just literally, when you find it, just drill it in. You ain't got nothing to worry about. It'll never make it to the side of the top of the tyre, yeah? And then once you sort of get all the way through, pull it out, and you should be able to pull any stuck sealant and stuff in the valve. This will pay you dividends when it comes to reinflating a new one, because sealant in there causes a restriction in there, which means you'll be forever and a day sitting there pumping or whatever you have to do to get the tyre inflate. Pain in the backside. Get that done first before you do anything else. Save you an headache for you later on. Right, so air out valve down. Gonna get into breaking the bead, right? Now, there's a trick to this. It's going to be, I don't know how easy it's going to be to show a video, but I'm going to give it a best shot. Right, what you're aiming to do, see the bead there like that, yeah? Let me see it, it's locked into the rim. People try to pull it off. If you just push it at like 90 degrees, there it goes. It just literally unhooks off. Yeah? Now, forget about trying to do around the valve, right? Because that valve is a restrictor, but we'll get to that bit in a minute. Do that the whole way around, yeah? Whole way. Now remember, these are like, this is an e-bike tyre. This is a mega stiff tyre, right? So I'm not making myself, or giving myself an easy time here. So, and then what you're trying to do is, in the dip in the rim, right? And the rim has that concave bit in there. You want all of that bead sitting in the middle of the rim, right? The whole point being is that, see the sideball now? Probably what, a quarter of the sideball is now sat inside there, so you've actually effectively made it, the tyre shift that way. And that's what you need to do to make it easy to get off. So when you get to the valve bit, you now got an excess a bit of tyre at the top. I don't know if you can see that. But you've got excess at the top, look. All that tyre is sitting down the bottom or inside the rim. And then once you get the excess at the top, if you just lift it over, just a bit of sort of pinch and pull, pinch and pull. He says. There you go, look, that's at the top. It's a Schwalbe tyre debanded off a rim without using tyre levers. So when people come in and say Schwalbe's a bastard, can't be done. Now, while I've got you on here, I'm just going to do the other side as well. So same thing again, I'm pinching the back now. So putting the rim at 90 degrees away from the tyre. 90 degrees that way away from the rim. So it just unclips off the rim. Does it the whole way around. Both sides. Try not to throw sealant all over my bench because the bottom of the tyre's full of it. So it is impressive. There's no rubber balls now, so these haven't picked up a puncture. Which is one of my pet hates for Schwalbes of old, so I always hit the puncture. Now, tricky bit, can't really see from there. Obviously the band of that tyre is now sitting the wrong side of the valve, but if you get the rim in the middle again, I keep saying rim, what's he saying rim? The band of the tyre in the middle of the rim, again you've got that excess at the top, you literally fold it over the top, like so. Go on your back, you can. Like that. Don't know it's full of sealant, it makes it real slippery. Schwalbe tyre off of a rim without the use of tyre levers. So, yeah. They are definitely more difficult than like your maxis because the sidewalls and these things, I mean, look, it's a foldable tyre almost standing up on its own. And this is the front, the back one's even stiffer. That one will probably need tyre levers. But yeah, there you go. As long as you do the principles, you get the principles right, and use that centre of the rim. So use that concave through there. Get the tyre bead sitting in that, which would, you know, think normally sits outside there. Normally sits there, and you're moving it downstairs. So you're working in a greater space. Get that bead over the top of the valve. Yeah, that'll make your life so much more easier. If you're trying to pull the tyre off while it's still sitting on there, that is why you're struggling. So, tyre off. What I'm going to do now, give that rim a clean up, get all the old sealant out of there, bit of prep, and then we will do the opposite and put the other tyre back on. So, catch you in a sec. Right guys, so after taking the tyre off, I wasn't happy with the condition of the tape, so I retaped it. Now, I am part of the Gorilla Tape gang. Stuff's great. I mean, I've used the proper rim tape stuff, and I've had mixed results. Some of it's good, some of it I've had it when it just leaks by and just fills all your valve holes with sealant, and if it comes out doing spoke changes and stuff, it just becomes an absolute bloody nightmare. But if you put the griller on straight, so line it up and feed it in and press it down as it goes, and then make sure you do your start and your finishes over the top of the valve hole. So when you fit the valve in, it basically pinches the start and the finish like that. You see there, there's the start and the finish there, so it's about 3 inches of run over, valve in the middle. Do that. I've never had a problem with it, honestly. It's cheap, easy, and it works, you know. So tyre on in reverse, so how we do it off, you know, in the middle, make sure it's sat down in the well. It can be a bit more difficult because you've got obviously 2 sides of the tyre sitting down. Now, depending on how confident you are it's going to work, you can inflate it first without any sealant and pop the bead on, so the tyre's sat, you know. Or if you think, right, you know what, I'm cocky, or like me, you've got a compressor. I am like a good old-fashioned chef. I just go, yeah, that looks about right. You know, and what does that mean in real terms? It's, let me show you with the camera. I'll just put like a decent puddle in the bottom compared to my hand, you know, like that. You know, especially if you're going to retape to reseal the rim, you can't put too much in, you know, not really. Anyway, so sealing in. Good thing to do now is just rotate the wheel around so the sealant goes around to the side that is already sealed. Because if you haven't done this before, this gear's messy. And when it gets everywhere, it gets everywhere. Another little side note as well is on the tyre front, and again this is personal preference and this is me, the eddies come in 2.6 or 2.8, which is big, right? And big tyres are like comfortable, can take a kick in, but they can be slow. So the one thing I can take away, I'll tell you what, these are stiffer than the eddies. Probably because they're smaller. But round them in your feet. So if like me getting that last bit in one go, do an edge check, which the tiles all the way around on the edges, and it should just clip on. So yeah, I've gone for 2.4s, slightly narrower, slightly lower profile, just to try and pick a bit more pace out of the tyre really. This is just the side of me that likes going fast. So yeah, so these are, in my perspective, or what I'm looking at here, is halfway between what the eddies were, or what the maxes were, and what the eddies were. So yeah, I'm literally just trying them out and see what the outcome is. So that's my choice. That's my reasoning behind the 2.4s. Using the same sidewall technology that was on the eddy, so the bike hangs on, because that is the one thing. Max's tyres, I've literally four rear tyres in 5 months. I think my shortest one was a week. I've got to have a DHR2. And basically I used to tear the bead off the sidewall, or the sidewalls. You know, you get the crisscrossing and shredding, like to the point that you're exposing cloth. And like, do that to a tyre when you're tearing through the trees at 20-30 mile an hour. You don't want that. Or what if the tyre lets go to the back of your head? Stop that, you can keep that. The Schwalbes don't seem to be having that problem, and the grip level is no better or worse. Yeah, I mean the eddies were a bit of extra volume, so they took a real punting, probably overkill actually. So that's why I've gone for these. 2.4, slightly lower profile, slightly narrower tyre. Hopefully the grip's going to be on point. Everyone said to me that Magic Mirror Big Betty combo is like the best tyre combo you'll go for, as opposed to my old Assegai HR2 setup. So anyway, tyres feed. All I'm going to do now is hit it with air, pop it on the bead, then fit the valve, pump it up, and then we'll have a look at just a bit of sealant distribution, which is no real technical thing to that, but we'll cover it off in a sec anyway, just so I'll show you. Right, back in a minute. So there we go, pumped up. Like I said, I'm like to run, I've got a compressor, so I can just dump the air in, job done. I use it via a normal like car tyre inflator, and always works well for me. But if you haven't a good tyre setup, a good rim and tyre setup, you can do it with track pump. I've never used it before. I had the compressor, I never used any problem with track pump. I just like the compressor because I'm lazy. I can just go done, you know. Yeah, you can get the air shot pumps as well now that are good for bagging on tubeless. But yeah, with a good tubeless setup, it shouldn't be that problem. Now, once I've done that, just to make sure the sealant gets around, you just literally hear that. You might not, because I'm probably got music playing over this button once you get to it. And all you want to do is just slosh the sealant around. Get that sealant spread around in the rim, all over the place. And yeah, so it's all spread around nice. And the next best thing to do after that though, is go and ride your bike. That will get the sealant everywhere and get a good place. Right, I'm going to get the back tyre banged on now. I'm not going to go through that again. You've just seen what I've done with this lot. And then once it's all on, we'll have a quick look, eh? Right, back in a bit. Yeah, look. As I mentioned earlier, about this one's Ramos full of it. So close and get this in again. Drill bit, screw it in, and pull. See the old snot on the end of that? That's all the sealant that was stuck in the pump. When you try and put air in afterwards, you're going to be trying to blow the air down the valve car past it. There's still more coming out of that. That's what you're trying to do. Get all that out. When it comes to pumping it back up again, it makes it a doddle. Right, on and fitted. Job's a good one. Now, normally I'll do this outside and where it's nice and sunny, but as you can maybe or maybe not hear, he's chucking it down in there, so I'm hiding in here. Not the most amount of room, but it does. Right, anyway. So yeah, all on. Initial thoughts. There ain't a lot of difference, is there, between these and the DHR2 tread pattern? Now, when you hold them side by side, you know, with a single, double, and offset side knobbles. I mean, Maxis go with the square cut rectangle, whereas Schwalbe do the angled. But I think traction wise, they're probably going to be on par, and there was nothing wrong with the grip on the Maxis. The problem with Maxis was that it was just so soft in the sidewall, which yeah makes them cushy for a bit of compliance, but I mean I can literally destroy these things. And I run, or I used to run quite high tyre pressures. God, I can't be words out. High tyre pressures, 34 psi in these, whereas on the predecessor the Eddies I was running 28 in the back. So we'll see how we get on this. It's slightly lower profile, narrower tyre, so we may run a little bit more. Trying and testing we'll get that, but yeah, just thought, you know, not a massive amount of difference, and probably a little bit better mud clearance on the Schwalbe as well, but we shall see how it gets on. Anyway guys, cheers for watching. Listen to me waffle on about all things bikey, and yeah, right, I'm out. See you on the other side guys, thanks a lot.